Okay, I'm going to show you a pheasant tail nymph. You're going to like, oh, that's boring, pheasant tail nymph, but I'm going to show you some tricks that have helped me. If you look at the second shadow box over from the far side, I made my wife a necklace of pheasant tail nymphs. I tied 100 dozen of them, put them on a lei as a necklace, and gave it to her for Christmas, and she was not impressed. But anyway, it's my favorite fly. I wanted that many, so when I get the shakes and lose my eyesight, I have my favorite fly. But I'm going to show you some tricks here with the pheasant tail that are going to save you guys a lot of grief. Okay, first of all, this is tied on a Mustad 3906B. I'm very superstitious. That's the only hook I tie pheasant tail on, 3906B, and it has to be size 18. And I'm really irritated because Mustad changed the formula for the hook, made the gap a little bit wider, but I'll live with it. Okay, so I've got a 3906B. This might be a 16 hook, just so you guys can see it. Now I've got a glass bead, a peacock color. Forget whether, I think Spirit River sold those. Or don't listen, Brady or Benji, but you can get those at Joann Fabrics. I brought a bag this big for like $5 and it's lasted me forever. Okay, the trick to a pheasant tail nymph is most of the fly don't use pheasant tail. This is pheasant neck. You've all seen this? This stuff is so much better than pheasant tail. If you look at a pheasant tail, I'll use pheasant tail for the body, but not for the legs or the tail. If you look at a pheasant tail, look at the ends. What are they? They're thin, they're jagged, they're not straight. A couple fish, that'll break off. They're just not, it's not a good fly tie material for tails and legs. This is the best tailing material you'll find for a nymph because it's thick and you can get the tips so they're even. And sometimes there's those little black tips on them, which are really nice. So that's my tail. Tie that in right there. Bring it back. And I've never had one of those tails or legs wear out. Now here I'm gonna put a rib. Oh, I didn't show you my trick here. This is my old neoprene waders right here. Cut them in a strip. Cut a notch in the strip there. Little notches here so you can adjust the size. And then cut a hole in it and put your thread, your tinsel, your wire through it. So it's a great materials keeper here. Now, just use the legs of your old neoprene waders. Don't use the sweaty part. Okay, so there's my rib. See, my downbill thread is starting to go flat on me. So I'm going to twist that. Okay, this is where I do use the pheasant tail for the body. Grab a clump of that. Hate the tips, so I'll always cut the tips off of my pheasant tail. Put it the length of the body so that it's all even. Tie that on. Now, here we want to reverse wrap the rib over the pheasant tail. So here I'll go backwards with my pheasant tail. This makes it so much sturdier. And I'll tie that off 3 wraps. And now I'm going to go regular wrap with my wire 5 times. Get rid of that stuff there. 4 4, 5. Tie it off. And that wire gives it a little bit of segmentation and makes it a lot stronger. Now here I'm going to use Mylar for the wing case. So just pearlescent, opalescent Mylar. Tie that right on top. Okay. Now here, the books will say, tie your legs on, tie your thorax, legs on both sides, try to make him even. It never works. So here's the trick. Take your pheasant neck, pull off a clump. That's probably a little bit too much. So you get about 8 or 10 legs on each side. So I'm just going to pull a clump straight off of there. Whoops. I'm going to tie these in over the hook of the eye, like that. And you'll see why here in a minute. So tie that on, get the length you want, cut off the trim. Now, here's the cool part. See, they're all even. The legs, as they go behind the fly, will all be the same length, and that's what you want. But you're going to say, how do you get the legs? Well, I'm going to show you here in a minute. Okay, peacock curl. Now, peacock curl, if you look under a microscope, it's actually like a Y. The fibers go this way, and then there's the stem right here. So you always want to tie it so the stem is pointing forward. That way you have a really neat, clean-looking wrap. So there's my stem. Now notice this is between the mylar and the legs. Wrap that forward. You can take a couple wraps. I'm just going to do one wrap here. Hold it behind the glass eye. Take 2 or 3 wraps. Like that. Then pull everything back and take a wrap behind the 2 wraps behind the bead. Okay, see how that is? I'm going to get rid of that, and I'm going to get a drink. How many of you can do that so far? Everyone. Okay, now I'm going to split the legs so there's some on each side, equal amount. Now I'm going to take the mylar. You're not going to be able to see this, so I'll explain it to you. I'm going to bring the mylar over. I'm going to grab everything and fold it back, holding the mylar forward. So, mylar forward, bring everything back. Take the thread right behind the glass bead twice, and see that? Now we're not done yet. We're going to pull it tight, and we're going to grab this mylar and we're going to shimmy it around until we get the legs exactly how we want them. Then we're going to pull it down. Now I'm going to pull that mylar out of the way and just tie it off right behind the eye. Now if you get, let's see, I'm getting ahead of myself. So tie that off. Cut your thread off. Now when you cut the mylar off, you don't have to cut it flush. You can cut it and it'll fold back a little bit on top of your flash back there. So once again, by using the pheasant neck, you've got perfectly proportioned legs. They're stronger than pheasant tail. You got a nice tail. So do you see that? Brian, am I going to have to tie this for you again? Or?
Just go slow. Not slow.